coming along Africans and helping them to build their career once that we are here in the United States. So we have 4 major programs we organize. We have orientation workshop that is targeting people who have just arrived. We bring them together, provide them information, connect them to the resources that they need to build their career in the US. There's a lot of resources out there, but if you don't know, you cannot access it. And the problem is sometimes you don't even know what you don't know, because this is a new generation. We have a mentoring program that will pair young African professionals or recently arrived professionals who know the industry that they want to go in. We will pair them with a seasoned professional for 1 year to develop their 5-year career in the industry. We give them all the resources that they need to help them build their career. And then we have an advisory services. If you are looking for a job, or you have questions around your job, or you're trying to transition, if you come to us, what we can do is we can share the resources we have with you. If you need to shadow someone in their job, because we have a wide network of professionals, we can connect you to someone that can help you make good decisions. And then we have a networking session. Every quarter we bring African professionals together just around career development. So if you are here and most time in your workplace, you are the only African there like me, there's a place when you come in, you meet more other African professionals that you can network. So in my hands, I have brochures of the organization, it spells everything, our website, the contact number. I'm going to pass it around, take one, and if you have questions, I'll be happy to talk to you later.
All right, so we have one. Anybody else? Anybody wants? Okay. Anybody wants? All right, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Take one and you pass the rest back.
All right, guys. So I don't know if this is one.
Okay.
All right, guys. So we have something going. We have Wakenya Pamoja going, and this is the second year. I believe maybe 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, will be a big organization represent. So we'll be a big organization, and we want to involve the community. 10 years down the line, it will be one of you. This is our idea, that this organization is not my organization, it's a community organization. So today we are founders of the organization, but we want you to be involved. And the only way you guys can be involved is through things like this, where you've contributed, we've gotten sponsors, and we've brought all of us together. That's the only way we can do it. So if you do not participate, then there's no way we can succeed. There's no way this organization can turn into anything beneficial. Today, everybody is busy with their own thing. But 10 years down the line, 15, 20 years down the line, you have kids who will be adults there. You will be older, going to hospitals, sick, college, fees, all those things. And that's a reality. So if we don't come together today, if we don't come together now, in anticipation of what will happen in 10 years or 20 years down the line, we will find ourselves in a situation where, probably some generations that were ahead of us were where we are today. And they didn't have an organization like this, or something that has brought the community together like we have. We want to indulge you, want to hear what we can be able to do, how we can be able to make this organization sustainable. so that 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, the kids that you have a community. We don't want them to become too gobo, you know, for lack of a better word. But that's what's gonna happen. If we don't do anything today, our kids, you know, I always tell my friends and people, you know, I talk to, that we are investing at home. And this is the reality. When Ambassador, you'll excuse me, but I'll give some reality. This is the reality. We're investing home. But do you know what your kids are gonna do? Do you guys have an idea?
They're gonna sell the stuff.
They're gonna sell the stuff. That's the reality. Those kids you will want to go back home, but those kids are American. Those kids are going home. They will go home, they'll sell the way you're doing doubles or whatever, they will go and sell that shampoo and come back here with us. That's a reality. So we invest in our kids so that even if they sell that shampoo and they come back here, are they responsible enough to make themselves, you know, to make good of themselves? But we can only do that if we come together as a community, where we have issues like depression that have been affecting us, and we can be able to talk, look for ways we can address it. We have issues where kids are already doing drugs, you know, and you know, we have issues where kids, situations where kids are already doing drugs, kids are going to jail. That's a reality. So yes, today you have a 10-year-old, you have a 5-year-old, you have a 12-year-old who you're not thinking will be like the others. You know, your kid is special, but you know what? That kid will come here, interact with us, my kid who's bad, and be influenced. See, they're there now. Yeah, they're interacting with the bad kids. So your kid is good. Yeah, this is the reality. So we have to do something, guys. Brothers and sisters, we must do something. Must. It's not an option. If you do not do something, nobody's gonna do anything else. So we want to indulge you. We talk candidly. When Ambassador, we also, there are issues which we've already talked about. We have passport issues. We have IDs issues. In this state, you know, some of us don't have papers. So recently they've passed something called a real ID. So I don't know if you're familiar with it. And this is a concern to our community. What do we do? You know, first, we don't have passports. These guys have issued real IDs. So what happens to them? You know, if on the government side, we can at least facilitate. If Wakikuja, I know I have a home. Wakikuja, I'll just tell them, okay, I'm done. America, goodbye. Here's my passport, I'm gone. So if you can help us on that, driver's license, IDs, you tell us what we can do. If we need to come together as a community, 50 of us, 100, then you can send your people over to help us, whatever it takes. I guess that's what now the community wants from you. I hope hamtaambia Ambassador kesi zenyu za mashamba. That will keep us here the whole night. So let's talk candidly about those issues that I've raised, and I'm sure that we'll come up with a way forward. Whether it's Wakenya Pamoja as a formal organization where you guys are part of it, tomorrow it might be you who's standing in my place and I'm sitting there. That's how it needs to be. Not I am here for the next 10, 15 years and still the same guy talking. No, we want transition. So today it's us who are here. Tomorrow it might be you. If you don't support us, how will you expect people to support you when it's your turn? That's how we need to look at things. So, yeah. So
God is good all the time. My name is India. I'm one of Kenyans, and thank you for inviting me to be one of the panelists. I have 3 points. One, Anybody knows about Canadian community in Boston? We know of them, right? The Canadian came here in early 1960. They were just like us. We came from Kenya when we were poor. We came to America, we can do 2 doubles and make a lot of money in a very short time. And thinking that you're gonna go home to India. So you buy apartments in Kenya and here. So they did all that. They own Dorchester Ave in Dorchester. Mr. Kiranga, you know that. They own a lot of properties. You know what happened? Which is the biggest gang in Boston? Vadian. Because what they did was this. They forgot about the kids. They concentrated looking for money. The thing I do, I think Dan does. Everybody does that. If we wake up, we do doubles. We have the best friend called TV. We read him there. So what is happening now? We have to think as Chris said. Chris said, the properties we are buying in Kenya, God, thank you very much. We have properties in Kayole. My Waringa will ask me, what's Kayole? My kids tell me, they love Kenya, they go visit, they vacation. But their home is in America. My wife and me, we tell them that every day our home is in Kenya because we have sentimental connection with Kenya. God is good, but Mundi and Washira, they have no idea what's about Kenya. And we go there often than not. So what should we do as a community? We should invest in our kids. I'm very big in education. We should invest in our kids' education. Who here has ever attended a town meeting in his town? And let's be honest. 1, 2, 3, more than 5, less than 5 people in town hall. I've never attended one. What happens? When we moved to Landorf, I know not many people were in Landorf that time. I think we were the first or 2 Kenyans who went there. The education system was very good in Landorf. So that's why we moved there. Within 2 years, so many people moved there, and the education system went down. So we were forced to take our kids to a private school. Yet I pay my tax in Landorf. There's a good thing about public school system. But how can we influence education system in America? Is being participants. Is in those meetings. One of my friends in Landorf, he had a kappa outside his house. Somebody went to the town hall meeting and they say that there should be no car being parked there. And it was passed. And my friend didn't know until we had a party in his house and we were told, oh, police came and took all the cars. They towed the cars. Why? Because we can't attend this meeting. Let's attend the town hall meetings. Let's be there. And also let's be present. You know, you can be here tonight, but you're not present. God is good. So please, let's get involved. So I'm challenging each and everyone here today to think about our kids. The future of our children is not, don't think about you. Me and my wife, we are done there. Well, but what I mean is, it's about them. It's about those 3 kids of mine. So if we have to invest, we invest in them first. We always tell them, me and my wife, we always tell my kids that if you guys can get educated and you are good, we will never disturb us. Me and my wife, we are good. Me, I can work in McDonald's, and my wife, and in the evening, we are good. But if you are staying in my house, you are disturbing me. Ambassador anajua kwa sababu kuna watoto kubwa. If the kids have problems, even if he is an ambassador in America, he has a lot of problems. Right, Mr. Ambassador? But if you take care of your kids, you are good. So let's take care of our kids by educating them the best we can. When Chris or Shiro sends something about better education, good schools, and we don't even take an effort. Me and my wife, we have a 10 years old. We wanted to register in that program, but we are saying every day we're going to do it, and we didn't do it. I'm so ashamed. Today, at their academy, they give 100% scholarship for the kids. But I didn't see any Kenyan kid graduating today. Scholarships. Why are we not there? Because we are still, Jadida, you still want a prod somewhere in Nanyuki. Nanyuki, I have it, it's my hometown. But my kids will not go there. So before we think about Kenya, in our Catholic church, when we are praying, kuna maombi tunaitanga maombi ya kila mtu. All right? So somebody starts, God help our home Kenya. You know, I was saying, home in America and where you came from in Kenya. Because today you're in America. Everybody can tell me that when we came to America, everybody was going. Me, got a green card, I was coming for 5 years. 20 years down, I'm still in America. Let's be realistic, let's be real. So for today, we are asking two things. With good education, but all in that, the foundation is this organization. So let's do what we can do. Let's sustain this education. Let's see this organization, that's what we can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bwana Mundia. Tony?
Everyone, Tony Ngare, and what I'm going to do today, because I mean a lot of issues have been raised by everyone who has for me. I'm not going to repeat the issues that we are having here. What I wanted to say is that in this community and everywhere you go, you're always going to find the leaders and then those who lead. Leaders hold positions of power and authority, but those who lead inspire us. They inspire us to do things for ourselves and for something bigger than ourselves. And so what we're asking here today, discussion, it's about issues that are facing us, and the whole idea behind these discussions is so that we can find better solutions for the issues, the challenges that we are facing today. So what I would say, not so much, is let's care about the ability to network, to talk to each other. Just like he mentioned, something that can help benefit the community, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. And there are so many things. I mean, whether we are talking about, there was something that Shiro does every day, the bubble run. There's also the MIT Kids Triathlon. And these activities help the kids build up their resumes to move on to the next stages of their lives. So this is what is here today. Wakenya Pamoja. Let's together create a historic movement that can lead us to better things. Thank you so much. You're all welcome to ask me any questions.
Thank you, Tony. Just to add a little bit on what Tony has said, my kid goes for to a school through a program called A Better Chance. So one of the things that people don't realize, every little thing that your child does benefits that kid. It's their resume. They're young, but every little thing. The other day, my wife was reading for me something about some Nigerian girl who had graduated somewhere in Worcester. And the things that they had written about her was she was third in athletics. She, not number one really, but everything that she did. She was in drama, she participated in acting, she sings. She doesn't have to be the best, but she can participate in those things. We have to ensure that our children participate in those things. Today we had a number of kids who are recognized by the ambassador, given certificate by the ambassador. Now, you people know kids who could have been given a certificate today, and they could have added that to their resume, recognized by the Kenyan ambassador. It's there. It's something. They had nothing to lose. Nobody was being charged for it, but we didn't do it. So, yeah, good point, Tony. Sami?
Thanks, Chris. One of the key things that we have to recognize as Wakenya Pamoja is to realize the mission and the goals of this organization. When we all came together to start an organization that will help the community, we came up with a phrase, I'm as strongest as the weakest Kenyan. If we really think about that and say, how can I be a better person for the community, is we came up with 3 themes: to connect, to network, and to empower people. I think the first thing we have to say, this being our Wakenya Pamoja milestone day, we have to say that we've connected people. The question becomes, how far have we connected people? The next step becomes now we have to network people. We have to open up our resources. We have to open up our skills. I think one of the key things over the past 1.5 years, anybody ask for a question at Wakenya Pamoja, you immediately get an answer. You want a landscaper? You get one. An electrician? You get one. You want to get advice about your your kids' education? You get it. You want to talk about politics? You go to the rebel group. So there are so many things that we've done to open up our mindset to change it. Because if we only change it, we can only do things that are greater for not our kids. Right now, we are talking about insurance, health. I mean, most of our kids are also dealing with stresses that this world brings to them. My wife and I were blessed with a 17-year-old and a 10-year-old. I've never raised a 17-year-old, but I think there's somebody here who's raised one who can advise me, and I can get to know various ways of approaching some of these things. So the other thing that we have to do is like, how do we empower each other? By connecting each other, by networking each other, we empower each other. There are people here who have very good positions, whether it's corporate or non-governmental organizations, that can help people here. If you talk to somebody, they'll tell you, if you own a business, how to get into part of these things, to enjoy a little bit share of that pie so that you can be able to help other people in the community. Yes, Kenya is our motherland, but our kids are here. And even if our goal is to go back to Kenya, we have to make sure that we build a strong foundation for our kids who are here, who will take it over to the next step. And we'll open up for discussions, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Sammy. All right, so one ambassador, you've heard what we stand for. Wakenya Pamoja, we want to build a strong foundation here. We're not saying we will not invest at home, as some of us are going back home. But we want our kids to have a solid foundation here. So I'm sure you'll be able to give us advice going forward.
Yeah, thank you. Let me give you a story. And I'm sure those who come, I come from Kirinyaga County. One of the first people to go to Mombasa, one of the first communities to go to Mombasa were Kirinyaga people. They went to Mombasa. This was even before, a long time even before independence. But they were saying, I've come here for 1 year. After 2 years, I'm going back. I've only come to earn money for taxes. You know the hard tax that the British had imposed? So 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they get married, they have children, but they are still. So they asked, why don't you, government has started some of those housing estates. Why don't you buy? Oh, me, I don't want to buy. Me, I'm going back. It's now when their children grew up, then they realize, what have we done? We could have gone into some of those housing schemes, and when you want to go, you can always sell it and take the money. So I think it's important, I think what the panelists here have said, that really when you are here, you have to think of your children, their welfare first. Get involved. I challenged you the other time that when I want to come here, I want to hear that there's a Kenyan mayor or a ward representative or a county or city executive. Did anybody stand for any election? Thank you, thank you, yeah, thank you. That's how you start. Yeah? Start a ward representative, city executive, school executive. That's how you start. But as you do this, there are two communities that are very unique. The Jewish and the Irish here came here more than 200 years ago. But Even today, even a child who is born, he says, "Who are you?" "I'm an Irish American." And they came 800, more than 200 years ago. Meaning, they still recognize where they came from. And try at least once in their lifetime to go to Ireland and start looking for where your great father used to live somewhere. Same case with the Jews. The other very unique fact about those two communities is their networking, which I have heard somebody saying that, you want a landscaper, you'll get one. Their networking is supreme. If you want anything and you're among them, you'll get it. That would be the wish, as a Kenyan government representative, my wish for you. Network, help each other, mentor each other, assist that Kenyan who has fallen by the wayside. Raise them up, help them up, assist them, get to know. That way, I think if you do that, you are going to succeed. Because you came here for the American dream, and that's your right. Help. When everybody succeeds, the community succeeds. Yeah. So I think the motto that you have said, "You are as strong as the weakest Kenyan," is actually true. Yeah. I'm sure one of the worst my experiences was in Seattle. There was a Kenyan there who had lived in the city for more than 15 years, but nobody knew of his existence. From job, he passes through a pub, he has his drink, home, office, pub, home, office, for 14 years. Until one weekend, he passed away. And he stayed for 30 days, dead on his bed, until the landlord, after waiting 5 days after the end of the month for the rent, didn't come, decided to go and find out what's happening. Found him dead on bed. He looked through his pockets, and then he saw something Kenya. So that was how he called the embassy. He says, "I think there's a man here, I think comes from Kenya." So they have a very strong organization, Northwest Pacific Kenyan Association, very strong. So I called the chairman and said, "Do you know?" He says, "No, we have never heard of him." They looked in the churches. "Is he a member of your churches?" "No, he has never attended." Like they have their own Pamoja also here, for national public holidays celebrations. Anybody who has ever heard of him? No. I said, anyway, he's a Kenyan. We got in touch with his family. They said, "What can we do for you?" He says, "If you can just bring us the body, we bury it." And sure enough, believe it or not, they met and they raised over $22,000 and shipped the body plus 2 or 3 people at least to go and explain, what had happened. So it's important when you are here, please don't be a lone ranger. I say be a member of, if it's a church, be a member of a church where you get fulfillment. In the church. Be a member of your residence association. Be a member of Wakenya Pamoja. Be a member of anything. Let people know of your existence. I think if you do that, you are going to succeed. We really want you to succeed. We have got a vested interest as government. Last year,
the Kenyan diaspora remitted over 200 billion Kenya shillings. Today, foreign remittances is the highest foreign currency earner for the government. So we want to succeed, because you know if you succeed, you'll send more money. So we have a vested interest in your success. We want to succeed. We want to succeed. That's why I mentioned there that from 29th October, Kenya Airways will have direct flights from New York to Nairobi every day. Take advantage of that opportunity. It will be a game changer. 14 hours, you're in Nairobi. We expect, if I may also tell you some statistics, last year, Americans overtook British or UK as the main source of tourists for Kenya. We expect that number to double with the direct flights. Our flowers, famous rose flowers, we expect them, to enter this market. At the moment, they go through Amsterdam, through some cartels where they're auctioned, and whoever buys them is the owner of the flowers. They're no longer Kenyan flowers. So when they come here, duty is imposed on them, but if they were to come directly from Kenya, they'll be duty-free at AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunity Act. So there are a lot of opportunities. We are also interested in the American world corporations to set up base in Kenya. Yeah? And they're actually giving priority to Kenya in the diaspora because they know the American market and know the Kenyan market. And quite a number of American companies have opened up offices. In fact, the latest one is Boeing. They have opened a sales office because we told them Kenya Airways is the largest customer of Boeing in Africa, and to get even a small screw, it has to be shipped all the way from Seattle, Everett in Seattle. So they have opened a sales office. We have Google, Microsoft, Caterpillar, MasterCard, which is the other one has opened office. Yeah, GE, yes. They have also an office. There's a famous one that has also opened they're based in Minnesota. What do you call them? Metronics. They've also they have also opened an office there. Yeah. So we are thinking where we could, they could have partnership with the Kenya diaspora here. Yeah. So we want to succeed. Yeah. Lastly, it is true. From government point of view, we are not worried about you. Your brothers and sisters and some of you, your parents are still in Kenya. But your children, where are their friends? They're here. So you need to give them that familiar connection. And we can do that. Under the new constitution, you can pass over your citizenship to your children. That's your right. So get a Kenyan passport and still maintain your American passport. Dual citizenship is now allowed in Kenya. Yeah? As I explained, we have a small hitch in the sense that government has started the e-passport, which is applicable to all the 5 East African countries, but we haven't received the machines yet. We expect by, at least we have been told that from next year's financial year, starts on 1st July. Once we get those machines, because you require biodata to be able to process the passport. We hope we'll be able to do that. IDs, I think the last time we did was about 2 years ago. Basically that's just budget processing. You are aware that last year we had 2 elections. One of them was not planned. The election in Kenya cost about 20 billion shillings. So during the austerity measures, the budgets of most of the ministries were reduced. But we're hoping that from this year or next financial year, they'll be reseated. Then you'll be able to come here. But even more, I've been impressed by parents in Atlanta, Georgia. For you to come to DC, it would cost you about $600. But the parents have gotten together. I think they are paying $50 each, you know, and they will sponsor a whole team to go and issue them with IDs, you know. But as usual, I will not call them rebels. You call them rebels. They are not rebels. But as usual, there will be people who don't want to cooperate. I think one of them said, I'd rather spend $600 and get free service from government than pay $50 and you know, and like I'm subsidizing government. That's the argument. I mean, we respect the opinion. Yeah. What do you do? Somebody says you rather spend 600 rather than $50. I'm sure even in this function, I don't know how much you are contributing, but I'm sure you are more than this. Yeah. But you are the ones who are prepared to, you know, to pay something. Because in this country, nothing can happen without payment. Nothing. Yeah. So we just need to continue preaching them and showing the importance of networking, of cooperating, and of doing things together. And hopefully, they will come around. I'm sure they will come around. Yeah. So thank you very much. We want to succeed.
All right. So now we'll open the discussions. Talk about the future of this organization, whether we'll make it a solid organization or we'll just be like a WhatsApp group and, you know, or on Facebook or on Telegram, and then there's nothing else that comes out of it. So we'll just have an event every year, or we have a solid community. So it's up to you guys. You're the ones who financed for this event today. Most of you have sent contributions. We did a survey. Out of the people who responded, 97% said they want a community center. 97% of the people who responded. So that is something that we should consider, where we can have a place where if we have, you know, activities, or we are trying to find out about some resources or even issues just in the community, like something like this, you could probably have held it in our own grounds, you know. So you tell us, what can we do so that we can be, you know, let's not say Wakenya wajashikana, you know, because that's the story. Wakenya wajashikana. Hatujashikana kama Kevadians, ama, you know, ama Jews, you know. Let's be those guys now who have shikanad, and other guys join us. And before we know it, we'll be an organization or a community that has, even if it's not Wakenya Pamoja, other communities will also get together and we can relate, but in numbers. Right now we have no voice. As Ambassador said, we can't even hold elections. If one of us stands for an election here, they'll probably lose. Kenyans will not even vote for him. Sababu mtu ni wazimu, anasimama na atampigia kura. And it's you who can vote for him. And probably that guy can go and change policies that right now are affecting us. That's how it goes. You elect someone in a, you know, a school committee, they go and change policies. You know, look at Trump. He has changed our lives. That's a fact. So we have to ensure that as a community we move forward.
One, you had said that we don't talk about plots, but we are still buying them, isn't it? So I think we still need to talk them. There is one piece of advice. Please use professionals. If you use Kenya now, we have got professional project managers. People can move your project from the foundation to the roof to interior design. If you use a lawyer, a surveyor, an architect, a quantity engineer, a project manager, a licensed contractor, the chances of being conned is less than 5%. But if your brother or your sister calls you and says, there's a very nice plot here, it is costing this much, send me the money, and you send the money. Then he says, this is the kind of building I want you to build for you. Please, I've started construction, start sending the money. I had one case, somebody saw an advert in the Daily Nation. Kitengela, 5 acres, 1 million. Kitengela, 1 million. And there was a pay bill number there where to send the money. Quickly send the money. Asking, can I have the sales? Can you prepare the sales? He tried to call that number. Mteja apatikani. So that's when he came to the embassy. I said, now, what do you want us to do? So my advice is, please use professionals. If you use professionals, I know you have got stories. You can tell. Some of you have been sent pictures of your neighbor's house. They are there. And when the house is roofed, that's the time you say, oh, now let me go, so that we can now agree on the interior design. He knows the maximum vacation period here is 2 weeks, maximum 3. So you disappear for 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks you have to come back. Otherwise you are going to lose your job. So please use professionals. The other one I wanted to say is getting involved in the politics of where you are. Some of you may not even be voters for your local community. I want to give you a case, a successful case in Minnesota. The Somali Kenyan community sat down and they said, we want to influence the policies of this city. Today, they have a congresswoman and a ward representative. They are now targeting mayor for St. Paul. And they just made a decision. They said, we want to influence the policies of this city. And you are struggling for a community center. The city council has given them, the Somali community, a center. No, a large one, okay, a bit dilapidated, but they give them for free. Said, if you are prepared to renovate it, here it is. Set it up. So it can happen. But it has to be a deliberate effort and decision. It can happen. When you are not even a voter, you don't even know what happened to your school, don't attend any town hall meeting, you have no idea. So it can happen, but you need to make a decision. That's why I challenged you. I say next time I come, I want to hear that we have a ward representative, Kenyan, or somebody in the schools. At least there's one who is planning to do it. So let's support him.
All right, so how many people know what time the event was starting today? Let's start with some house cleaning. How many? What time? 2? How many people here were here at 2 o'clock? 1, 2. You were here at 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 people were here at 2. How many were here at 3? Honest, don't lie. Don't lie. 4. Okay, 4, 5. And you're even embarrassed. You don't want to lift up your hand. So those are some of the things, and sometimes it's discouraging. We organize events, you guys say you're coming, you don't come. Then guys will show up at 7 or at 8. do we move forward? So anyway, that's food for thought. Now, anybody who has a question, you can ask any panelist. Just be brief.
Mine is a suggestion. My name is Andrew from Taunton. The Bible says, a people without a vision cast off restraint. We have a vision that they have told us. We are going to cast off restraint, or we are going to perish if we don't write it down. So my challenge is that I think the best thing we can do is to have some kind of a small group that can divide that can bring a number of people together who are professionals, and they can take care of all of our affairs. They can sit down and have a structure which is going to take care of the affairs of everybody, from the newborn to the one who is going to be buried. Like how we have a government, there's no need of, getting a new government. What we are supposed to do, what I'm thinking of is, if we can have a structure, just like a government usually is, it has people who take care of the entire human being, from birth to death. So if we can have that kind of a structure, because we are a nation already, we can have that kind of a structure, and we have professionals here who can organize us so that we can have that kind of a structure. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. What's your name? Andrew Kamau. Thank you, Andrew. Anybody who has a comment, question?
Hi, my name is Adan Kurema. My actual question is to the ambassador about the passport. You talked about biometrics. About 2 or 3 years ago, when the folks were here for the ID, we had biometrics done. Do we have to do them again?
No, the one that don't require biodata. It was basically a photo. That's all. No, fingerprints was really of ID. Yeah, ID. ID, we are still doing it manually. We haven't gone digital yet. So that's why you need to come for ID, you need to come to DC, because we need to take your fingerprints manually. But I'm talking about the new e-passport, which requires, take a picture of your iris, your face, your nose, yeah. So that's the biodata that is required. As I said, once we get those machines, we'll be able to do it. As of now, because all the other passports will expire on that 1st August 2019. Yeah. So we are hoping, latest by December this year, we are hoping that we'll have those machines, and then we can issue them. At the moment, we're only issuing still the old ones, but only for very urgent cases. Somebody has to travel, because it will still expire anyway next year, which is double cost. So we are trying to avoid that. Yeah.
Thank you, Ambassador. I hope you guys have understood what the ambassador said. If you have a Kenyan passport, you know when it's expiring? Have you guys understood? Next year, 2019. So, if you have questions, just a second.
Hi, I'm Eileen. This question is for the ambassador. I have a question about the ID requirements. They require that you get your parents' birth certificates. I don't know how diaspora is supposed to achieve that when they're not at home. And some parents don't have phones, and they're in remote areas at home. And the other question I have was, when we call the embassy in DC, nobody picks up. It's usually difficult to get through or to get anybody. What are you doing about that to make it easier for diaspora to get what they need?
Let me start with the latter one. Like now, if you are to call me, what would happen? I'm here. I actually discourage telephones. Email. Send us an email. Why I'm saying that? With an email, the first thing I do on Monday morning, to go through all the the emails, and I can see the one that has been actioned and the one that has not. So I have a fairly good idea of what my staff is doing. And then if next week I found it still has not been, then I'll call that person and say, why haven't you actioned? But if you call, one thing I found about missions, like for me, every day, there are minimum of 4 meetings. In fact, you have to decide on the ones that you want to attend. Every day, there's an invitation for breakfast. There's a lunch invitation. And probably a meeting in the afternoon. And then a reception in the evening from 6 to 8. And again, what happens if an ambassador invites you, maybe for their country's reception, you don't attend? What do you think will happen when you invite him for yours? You snap it. So sometimes we are forced to go. So I discourage telephone. Email is the best. You have evidence of what you have written. We have. It will be there in our office. In fact, in some embassies, Canada, even UK, that is the ones I know, they have the what do you call that? If you call, they charge you on your what do you call those calls? Collect calls, just to discourage. So the best is email. Try calling the American embassy. Yeah, embassies we prefer emails rather than telephone, because officers are always moving from one meeting to another, one meeting to another, one meeting to another. And also our hours. 9 to 1. Or the whole of lunchtime is closed. 2 to 4. Fridays, 9 to 1. So again, becomes tricky. So I prefer email. Anytime. I would recommend you do the same. Send an email. All the emails are all there. Whether it's from email from my office, from the general, my office, my personal email is there, and for all the various departments, all the emails are there. You know, we have evidence. I can go through and see the email which has not been actioned upon. But telephone call is difficult. It's not. It's not deliberate. But probably that officer is in a meeting somewhere. Yeah? This one? Oh, the birth certificate. Yeah. Birth certificate is actually not the main issue. Because if it's the birth certificate of your parents, like now your children, you have your own birth certificate here. Or if not, somewhere in Kenya, somebody can say to you. Our main issue, and this is something we have taken up to the highest level, is a requirement that before we issue, or that's the time when you're issuing passport, but before a passport is issued to you, you must have an ID. That is actually where the main problem is. Because like most of you either have the old ID, you know, the big one, which is invalid. Because we are now on the second generation. That is where the problem is. Because then you are now forced to come to DC, first of all, get processed for an ID. Then when an ID comes, then you now apply for passport. So we are trying to seek exemption of the diaspora because see, this cannot work here. May be very good in Kenya, but cannot work here. Yeah, it cannot work. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Mwehia. A lot has been said, so I'm not going to repeat much. One thing I wanted to reiterate is that you have a lot of talent here. A lot of people who are celebrated in this country for what they came with, the knowledge, and all the skill set they're using here. I feel bad. I was a Nyayo era child. I sang for Moi. I feel he educated me for free. I didn't even work in Kenya. I came here and used all my skill set here. I'm proud of what I do here, but I feel bad I'm not helping Kenya. Now, another thing I wanted to point out is the embassy issue. All right? We look up to you. We honor you. You're here representing Kenya and Kenyan interests. These people are Kenyans. They are the ones remitting as much money, more money than any other sector in Kenya. So not only should we value them, should you value us, you should attend to us. And the reason why I bring this up is that Kenya not a long time ago, recently used to be one of the hardest places to do business, right? That's a call that be repeated over and over and over until somebody in government started listening, right? They started responding, so we're doing very well. Unfortunately, I'll say that right now, you gave an example, we compared ourselves with the American embassy, other embassies. It's very hard to do business with the Kenyan embassy as a Kenyan remitting so much money in Kenya, right? And why I refer to the talent here, there's people who can solve those problems. I do not see why I should be writing to the ambassador who has so much responsibility to take care of my personal issue. You do have a team, I believe. I don't think you're the one looking at the people at the customer service, whether they're checking their emails. And maybe it's a suggestion. I think if you go to a McDonald's right now, in 5 minutes you're out of there, right? Because they have systems that somebody has thought through. These smart people here have thought through, and they're implementing them at all levels of business in the US. We could really appreciate if a lot of that skill set, that knowledge, that process was employed somewhere in the embassy. Leverage us. There's so much talent here. Make it easy for us to interact with you. Honestly, that comment, I have called the embassy 10 years ago trying to get a rushed passport, and there was the same experience. I've never called again. I'd rather pay the $50. And the point I'm piggyback, and I'm not criticizing, but I'm one of those people dissenting about having to pay to bring the embassy to me. You just told us we remit more money than anybody else. And I'm not looking for special favors, but anybody who's done business before. There's 10 customers in front of you. Mr. Big Boss Man gets a little more attention than everybody else. We're not asking for favors. We're asking, just do it the logical way, the business way. Now, we as the Kenyans are asking you, not because I think I've heard about budget limitations and all that, but you have a voice. You have the biggest income earners in the whole of Kenyan economy. You can go back and talk to your hires and make a case for us. Now, that's advocating for us. I know your interests are for Kenya, but we are Kenyans too. Advocate for us.
Thank you. I think that was well put. But there's only one difference between McDonald's and government. All governments are very bureaucratic. To change a policy takes a long, long time. And when this policy comes, it's applicable for all, like the case I've given you. The put was one of the requirements for a passport that you must have a Kenyan ID. But what happens when we come here? That's what the rule says. So we have to follow the rule. We cannot say, okay, it's not working, therefore we exempt it. We cannot. So we have to follow government regulations. As I said, the best we can do is to appeal, and that's exactly what I said. We advocate, we have said that this cannot work here. We need an exemption. And that's what we advocate. So we are advocating for you. The other one, yes, there's so much talent here that we know. Again, there was a time government announced that they want the diaspora to register themselves and give their skills and qualifications. I think less than 1,000 people bothered to register. The rest did not bother. But even worse, or else we may have talent. The staff come from Nairobi. The embassy does not employ. So even if you are the most qualified professor and you can sort out the embassy problem, I cannot employ you because it's all done from Nairobi. Yeah, it's done from Nairobi. Volunteering, again, regulations. They say before somebody works for the embassy, you have to do due diligence, you have to get all various certificates. So even volunteering cannot work. Again, because of, that's what the government says, bureaucracy. You know, I cannot just, an ambassador, just come and volunteer here and do this. My hands are tied. Because it's, oh, before you employ somebody, you know, even in interns, they have to go through all that rigmarole. You know, you do due diligence, you ask for a police certificate, you ask for ward certificate, you know. So that's bureaucracy for you. It's every government. Yeah. So we would like to, but our hands are tied because of the rules, and we have to follow them. See, like that one I've told you, simple. I said, asking that before a Kenyan gets a passport, he must have a Kenyan ID. Okay, it is well intentioned to avoid, you know, the way our neighboring country, you know, they used our passports. Yeah. So it's well intentioned, but it's not practical when it comes here. But in Kenya, it's working. But you know, once the rules have been gazetted, they apply across the board. So that's why we are seeking for an exemption. Say this cannot work here. Yeah, maybe good in Kenya, but it cannot work here. Secondly, and I think this is important, we have had change of government policy. You know, probably like you when you are coming here, if a Harambe was done for you, what advice were you given? That when you go to America, you get your degree, and you come alone. You make sure you come back with only the degree. What were they telling you? Exactly. Now we are saying, if you come here and you get a lovely girl, or if your boy a lovely boy, and you fall in love, by all means get married. We not insist that you come back. Yeah? Settle. But don't forget where you came from. That's what we are saying. Yeah, that's what we are saying. We are no longer saying that go get your degree and come back home alone. No, we are no longer saying that. Those are the realities. Yeah? Why? Because now diaspora remittance is an important factor, prime mover of development in Kenya. In fact, the president has even gone a further step. He has said every embassy must have a diaspora desk, and we have an officer dedicated just for diaspora affairs. At the ministry, they have a full directorate of diaspora affairs. At the office of the president, they have an office for international jobs. Yeah. So right now, if you apply for international job where some lobbying is required, now we have a budget for international jobs. We are able now to lobby. We can hold a reception, buy a few bottles of wine and some bitings, and you come and you know, talk to whoever will be voting. And we have managed. We have done this. UCTAD. Do you know the Secretary General of UCTAD? Mukisa Kitui. Where does he come from? Kenya. The Deputy Secretary General of Commonwealth. Do you know her? Yeah, from Kenya. So we are succeeding in some of these jobs. We just failed to get the Secretary General of International Maritime Organization. And because the rules were changed, you know, in between, the Kenyan was doing very well until there were the last three. Then somebody says the Secretary General of International Maritime Organization, his country must be a ship builder. Now, Kenya, have we ever built ship? Meaning, basically, they were giving it to South Korea. Because South Korea today is the biggest ship builder. But that rule was not there when they started. But somebody said it's a way of, of eliminating. We would have gotten that one. And we did out of lobbying. Yeah, I held a lot of receptions for all the voting member countries in DC. Yeah, so we are hoping that we can even go ahead, and India, Sri Lanka, they have a full ministry. I think India, they call it Ministry of Indians Abroad. A full ministry. Same case with Sri Lanka and the Philippines. Full ministry. Yeah? Because they realize the importance of their diaspora. Yeah. So we are trying.
All right, we'll give the ambassador a break. Kidogo. Let's focus on those young people who are the future of sending that 198 billion. So let's focus on Wakenya Pamoja. We'll give the ambassador a break, then we'll come back again. Right. Yeah. Tutakupatia nafasi upumzike dakika mbili. Yeah. So we'll focus on any questions on Wakenya Pamoja.
My name is Joseph Nene, and I live in Worcester. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for breaking from your busy schedule to come and be with us this evening. Mine is asking you to briefly touch on dual citizenship application and legal impact it has on diaspora or otherwise. Thank you.
All right. Ambassador, I'll hold you to note. Is it for the ambassador?
My name is Elijah. I had a feeling that as though the officials wanted us to discuss how we can become a better group, a better Kenyan. So first I would like to thank them because it's not easy to bring people together as we are today. So my contribution is just as one of the gentlemen mentioned over there about having officials, I would like us to go a step and look at the groups that we have. Somehow Kenyans, we are Christians. So let's use those groups. Come up with officials from each of the religious groups that we have, Muslims, Christians, and even those ones that don't go to church. So we can have a representation that knows all the people in that circle. And then from there, we can have our input into the big picture and we become a stronger Wakenya Pamoja. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You want to answer?
Thanks, Elijah, for that question. I think one of the key things we have to be open with ourselves. We know in the communities that we live, I think there are so many people who can say some of the church organizations or groupings have been very divisive in our community. I think what makes this group special is that there's a little bit of what we can call separation of church and state, where we come here and say, this is our goal, and this is where we are going to, and if you join us, we go there together. Because I'm not privy to some of the divisive politics or issues of the other organizations. I think the most important thing is, like, we ask ourselves, where are we going? I think you're here today because there's some value to this. I'm here today because there's some value to this. So the question becomes, you bring your input, then we go and we move together.
Thank you, Sam.
Hello, everybody. My name is Violet, and I'm from Ton. This is my opinion about if we are going to create something strong and with a foundation. What my suggestion is, for everything to be successful, whatever you guys want, you have to get leaders. From those leaders, then they come up with a game plan. With this game plan, other people come in. Like we say, you cannot have many cooks in the kitchen. What happens in one dish? It will all go down. So what you should do, you have to have leaders. And who are these leaders? These are people who are passionate to the goal, the purpose, and the why of your mission. Somebody has to start. You cannot be what we are doing. So with those people, everybody has, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm good at this. But your why is the reason you're doing it. You're not doing just to be recognized. It's higher, because we are talking about your children and many other things. So for it to work, and I'm going to be brutally honest, that's how it has to work. You have to have people who are on top, just like a government, a country. But because this is not a government or a country, it is something for the community that brings from the heart. People who are willing, because for something like this, like when you say the Haitians have it, I don't know who have it, it started by a few people. They come up with this plan, with the mission and everything that they would like to do, and it grows from there. And with that, it will start pulling people, slowly by slowly, with the missions you guys are doing, with the success you're having, the fun you're having. You know? Like last year, there were way more people who showed up, right? Even for the sponsors. But for this year, it's less. I don't know why, but something happened in between there. So for it, it has to be mapped. Lazima ijengwe kutoka chini, tukuje juu, pole pole, bila haraka. Every year you do, and every day is a process, and it's an everyday thing. People building, coming up with ideas, but there are those key people who are holding the whole thing down. It cannot be this year is 1, 2, 3, next year is the next thing, every day. Then it should be an every year event, planned by event. It's not a continuous thing, growing, and to a mission, to a purpose, to a goal. Thank you.
So I will try and answer you. When we came up with this idea, initially we formed the group, Wakenya Pamoja. For those who are here and are in the WhatsApp group, you can remember, like half, 3/4 of the people left immediately. And after some time, we tried to explain, still people left. But we've held steadfast. So we're not going to compare ourselves this year or next year by the number of people who come. Our vision or our mission, as you've said, is to have this organization grow. It's a long term. We're not basing it on 2 months or 1 year. It's long term. When we are talking about our kids. Some of them are in kindergarten. So we cannot base our plans on
5 years or 2 years. That's very short term. It has to be long term. So today we might have less people. Last year, as you say, I have not carried out a survey yet, might have been more people. Next year might be more people. But that's why we've involved the community, so that you can tell us, okay, this is what we need to do. And organizations have been formed, isn't it true? People have formed organizations. And how far have they gone? Same groups, same Kenyan groups. Others say, oh, pesa yetu ilikuliwa. You know, we don't ask anybody for money. We've asked the community to contribute for this event. They have. So others could not attend, maybe because of work schedule. I do not know. And for us, we will not be faint-hearted and say, oh, because last year there were 100 people and this year there is 20, we're not going to do it again next year. We'll still do it. We'll still be here. We'll still work as hard as we've worked. If people are cooking, volunteers are there, us asking the community to get engaged, we will still do it. But we've asked for you guys to tell us, what can we do better? If next year or 2 years or 5 years down the line, it's somebody else who's here doing what I am doing, then so be it, if that will make the organization grow. That's my point.
Thank you again. Actually, I just want to touch on leadership. On leadership, it's very critical. From what Chris is doing and what the leaders are doing is important. But what's most important is what you want to be part of this organization. Who are those leaders? You are that leader. There's no other person that's going to come and lead from within the group that is here. And I believe the people that are here have a vested interest, and that's why we're here today. So let us support this group. Let us find those leaders amongst ourselves who can be able to push this vision forward. Because if we don't believe in the vision, we don't believe in this mission, we ain't gonna go anywhere. There was somebody asked the Chris, hiyo pesa tupatie account ya wale tumetoa pesa. Seriously, that's how we break our community. That's how we break our community. It's not a, let's look long term, like Chris is saying. If we want for the future of our kids, let's not be petty. Let's be part of the solution. Let's not ask questions that are really bringing us down. Let us have constructive criticism, stuff that will pull us forward. That's the only thing I can say on leaders. And who are those leaders? Leaders is you and me. That's where the leaders are coming from. So if you want to be part of this and you believe in it, reach out to Chris. Tell him, Chris, I want to be part of this organization. Can I be this leader? This is what I can contribute. What is it you can do for Wakenya Pamoja? That's my comment on that.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. We are the Wakenya Pamoja. It's not Chris, it's not Sam, it's not everybody. It's not in the readers. But as a good lady say there, community moves because there's leadership. We have these people who have volunteered. I've been involved in volunteerism in an organization, the church, for like 20 years. And we move forward. For now, I would propose two things. The readers who are there, we legitimize them for the time being. If it's even for 1 year, before we think of anything else, we tell them, we have given you a mandate to lead us. God is good. When we do that, what we tell these people is that we have faith in what we are doing. We have faith in our vision. That's first thing. Then we, me and you and everybody else, contribute. Tell them what we want achieved in a positive way, not negativity. Kenyans, we have, no, not Kenyans. Kenyans were known because we Kenyans here, we are very positive. Because we came. God is good. Did we not contribute whatever we could? So, let's not, nobody is negative here. We are positive people. So, us here today, don't worry about the numbers. The church are built by 10 people. So, this community, we are very good. Don't worry about everybody who is not here tonight. God is good. Did you hear how many Kenyans were happy, the kids are happy there? So, let's please, I'm proposing that we legitimize the leadership for another year. We say, you are good, go. Then the readers, please, Sam and everybody else, you form subcommittees, technical committees, which will help us achieve two goals. Organization like this and a community center. Am I hearing amen? Can we do that? By acclamation? We legitimize them? Okay, let me hear it. Oh, we evaluated. So we say minimum 2 years and the third year for transition. Can we say we have agreed on that? Please. Can I see that? It's acclamation. Unajua Mr. Basil alikuwa politician, so he knows acclamation is right. So can we acclimate? Can we? Yeah? Ne? Ne? Kuna wale wamesema no. Kwa hivyo we have given them 2 years with 1 year transition. Amen? Then ile kitu ya pili, we have given you responsibility of two factions. One, move this community forward, come with a community center. The last one, form subcommittees. Jimmy alisema, watu wamesoma sana. Seriously, we are very learned. Tumesoma sana, Chris. Hata ulisomea Kenya, na mimi nisomea Kenya. We are very learned. So we have people in every department. If you go architects, lawyers, we have everybody. Form those subcommittees to help us achieve our goal. Tumesikizana? Nimeenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mundia.
So, I mean, I just wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge Violet for bringing up that issue. And what I wanted to say, Violet, be assured this organization has a very strong foundation, because those were some of the keywords. You also mentioned to come up with a game plan. So, I mean, there was a game plan right from the beginning. There has been a success story. Right from last year, beginning with the sponsorship, beginning with the people that attended, the support that we have received from this community has been tremendous. And also, you and everybody else here is leading in their own very different capacity. And what do I mean by that? It means that you are inspired enough to come today. That is leadership. You inspired someone else today to come, whether it was a friend, whether it was your kids, whether it was a relative, whoever you brought to this event today. That is a sign of good leadership. And together, we are going to form a historic movement. Thank you so much, Violet.
Just to add to your... So, you mentioned sponsors. I don't know where you have information from, because I'm the one who's working on it. And I can tell you, the sponsors this year were more than the sponsors last year. If you want, I can show you. Just like Dan said, somebody said, we need to account and say who has contributed what. We gave you the budget. We are open. And if we wanted to be like some of those organizations that have been there in the past, we wouldn't even be calling you guys here. We just tell you, contribute. We have an event. You don't know where the money is going. You know, and next year we meet again. But we want to be transparent. We want you guys to be involved. As I said, today I'm here. Maybe tomorrow it's you. That's how we want it. It's not a question of, this is my personal business. It is not. We want to engage the community so that as you guys have decided, if the time comes for transition, somebody else takes over, but you have an organization that is functioning. We did not even know we'll be this far. But Ambassador, we did not think you'll be here for 2 years in a row. We didn't. So yes, we might be small, but it's okay. It's okay to be small. Right, and that's what we want. Yes, Paul.
Thank you. My name is Paul Ongulo, and I guess, Chris, you can give me permission to ask the ambassador. I just have 2 questions. All right, then I'll ask later.
Be brief, though. Be brief.
I just wanted to make an addition to the progress that we have made. If we can be a little bit more specific, and we say that the mandate that we are giving to the new team is going to cover from birth till death, because we are throughout the whole spectrum. We have Okay, this is what I mean. We have Kenyans who are being born today in America, so we target them. We have Kenyans because there are some of us who are not married, so they're going to be getting some kids. So those are the people that we are going to be targeting. Then we are targeting every age group. We just subdivide them, just like how a government functions. It has Department of Social Affairs, Department of Health, and it targets every Kenyan. So your task force is going to target every Kenyan that is living here. We have middle-aged persons like me. We have elder persons like my parents. So the task force we're giving you is to target every Kenyan in all the things, in the broad network you're going to present to us, and then we go on from there.
I think you can tell from the representation here that we've really tried to target all Kenyans. There's kids there, we have youth up in the hall. We've organized a session for them where they're discussing with professionals about their own future, and it's something that we've taken time to plan.
I thought you were prejudiced because I'm not from Kenya. Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Mona, and I'm from Egypt, but I was raised in Khartoum in Sudan, and we immigrated to this country, to Virginia, as a teenager, and now I'm here, and I'm married to a Lebanese, so I'm a mixed salad. But anyway, I was really like what Elia behind me said, because I can talk to you about the success in the Coptic Orthodox community as well as the Lebanese community about their children being raised. If you want your children to have the Kenyan culture and the faith, whether it's Muslim or Christian, the only way to keep that is to go to your church, whatever your church is, every Sunday, put them in Sunday school from 3 until the 18. We have youth ministers that do things with the kids. They have Teen Soyo where they serve, they go feed the homeless in Boston. And from my experience, I have 3 adult children, 26, 24, and 21. Their culture, they're influenced by the Lebanese culture because my husband's from 8, I'm an only child. My kids are very Lebanese, and this is good. They speak the language fluently. They love Lebanon. And I'll tell you, I have never seen people patriotic towards their country like the Lebanese people, no matter how many wars they have. So we have a Malachite church, a Maronite church, an Orthodox church. And guess what? My kids know all the kids from those churches. Why? Because the priests in those churches get along. And then they do fundraising. For example, they did something for the Syrian refugees in the Maronite church. My husband was the speaker. They have a bazaar at the Orthodox church. All the kids come there. So all the Lebanese kids know each other. They go to Lebanon every summer because they love their country. That brings a lot of good economy for the country. So the Coptics are kind of very tribal. So the Copts are in the Coptic church all the time. They are very much in their culture. Their kids marry Coptics, and this is how they keep the race, first of all. They're only 10% of the population. But I think it takes a village to raise a child. And I think they will get those mentors from the church. There are doctors, there are lawyers, there are accountants, and they all get to know each other. We have a coffee hour in Sunday after church. The kids go to Sunday school. I think this is the best way to be sure that these kids, because their culture is American Kenyan, they're not going to get along with the kids from Kenya. They're not going to get along with Americans because their culture is unique. Their culture is American Kenyan. So I hope that helps.
That helps. Thank you very much. Anyone with a question?
Hi, my name is Julius, and I had, maybe I'm just not aware, but the name Wakenya Pamoja Boston, it kind of implies a local, Boston and the surrounding towns. So I was wondering if you have any plans for Kenyans in Lawrence, Lowell, Worcester, Springfield, because they strength in numbers, so I don't know if you have any plans to actually include the rest of, the Massachusetts cities.
We, we actually do, but we decided to start from the village. Here at home, then we move forward.
I like your idea ya hiyo mzee. Tunaweza franchise your idea. So anyway, my name is Francis, and I really liked your comments too about the church and being members, strong members of your church, and also not distancing this organization with the church, because at the end of the day, you can't really separate the two. The church is really, a lot of people consider their churches to be their cultural centers, and also it's important that we build on that. We build on that, and also it can be a way to actually bring also our churches and the members all together. But anyway, the reason why I spoke up, I just wanted to speak about sustainability of this event. And a few days ago, a lot of people had suggested, like maybe the members who have the WhatsApp group, the 250 of them, for us to be contributing just a small amount, just to sustain this, because from my understanding, it takes funds to put up an event like this. It takes, from my guesstimation, from what I hear, it may cost us close to almost $10,000 to put it up. And right now, it's being done by well-wishers, donations, and all that kind of stuff. And I think the organizers and the founders of the group have done a tremendous job, a lot of commitment over the last 2 years. The least we can do as a group is to commit to be pledging something every year. They don't have spend a lot of time looking for sponsors and all that, and that can assure. So I hope we can work on this and agree on something so that going into next year, these guys can think about the vision and all those other things, not having to worry about where is the cash going to come to put up a good event. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. How many people have actually visited a sponsor's stand? Honestly. Because when we talk about sponsors, they want you guys to go and see what they have to offer. You don't need to buy. And that's the way they can come even next year. So I will encourage you, that also helps us because we get the funds and it helps us to organize an event like this or even smaller events along the year. So I would encourage you to do that.
Just to touch on a couple of things. Thanks, Violet, for your questions. Don't worry, it happens. Andrew, thank you. I think the most important thing we also have to come to recognize, the success of Wakenya Pamoja does not lie on the leadership. It's the community. I've always believed that these organizations will only thrive if you guys want it to thrive. I mean, we can talk about sub-communities or anything in there, but you have to ask yourself, are you committed to see it through? I am committed. And I think, Andrew, if you go back and look at the people who are Wakenya Pamoja officials, you'll see that from your concept, from birth to death, it's all represented there. Shiro, very passionate about kids. Faith Mbuthia, the generation, let's just call them generations era. She's there. Chris, business. Tony right here, marketing. So there's all that representation from the leadership there. If there's something that is not being done, what we are saying, tell us. We fix it, we move on. And that's, but the most important thing, the success is determined by you guys. Put us on our toes, challenge us. Like we say, we've had that challenge. Okay, where's the vision going? Are we getting a resource center? We can give it a 2-year mandate, but we can do all we can. But if you're not committed to see it through, it's never gonna happen. If we ask ourselves a simple question, if 200 people donated $20 every month, committed, that's $4,000 a month, $48,000 a year. We can get a building today or tomorrow, but you gotta be committed. And how are we gonna come if you don't remove your $20? What recourse do we have to say? Are we going to say, you didn't remove your $20, so you're going to be fined an extra $10? Commitment is the key. The 9 people who have put this organization together, the event that was here last year and this year, it's very passionate people who love the community. People sometimes say, we look at some of our messages from a couple of months ago, a year, up to 2 in the morning. People are still, I gotta get this bulletin done. I gotta get that sponsor to bring that value to the community. But we bring it back to you and say, charge me, encourage me. Let me go work there knowing that I'm not only working for myself, and I'm working for you and your kids to have that sustainable future.
Thank you, Sami. One ambassador, do you want to add anything?
Just as to answer those 2 questions, I think somebody asked about dual citizenship. Under the new constitution, there are 2 provisions that seems to collide. One provision says as once a Kenyan, always a Kenyan, and you can never lose your citizenship if you are natural born Kenyan. And says that if you are natural born Kenyan, then even your children are also Kenyans. In the same constitution, it says that from the effective date, which was in the year 2010, those Kenyans who may have acquired the citizenship of another country would then be required to reapply for reinstatement of Kenyan citizenship. So there's 2 provisions. Government has taken the latter one, saying that if you acquired citizenship of another country before the year 2010, then you are required to apply for reinstatement. It has taken a bit of time because then an act of parliament had to be passed, then the regulations had to be passed, but they have not been gazetted, and we have now started receiving all the applications that had been done over the last 3 years. We have now started receiving some of them. We are still following them up, but they have started coming. The minister has started signing them, and they are coming. So that was Mzee Wakazi, alienda? Okay, so that is the legal position. But from 2010, it doesn't matter now. You can never lose your citizenship, even if you acquire another one. And that's why we are now encouraging you. Please apply for a Kenyan passport for you and your children. And your spouse. You can transfer your citizenship to your spouse. And your children. And the gender does not matter. You know, I don't know if you are aware of, in the old constitution, there was that discrimination, that if a Kenyan man marries an un-Kenyan woman, the children are automatically Kenyan citizens. But if a Kenyan woman married an un-Kenyan man, the children were not automatically citizens until the age of 18, when they were supposed to elect whether they want the citizenship of their mother, their father. Now that is no longer there. Whether you are a man or a woman, doesn't matter now. So that's the legal position. But from 2010, just apply and we issue you with a passport without inquiring whether you had obtained citizenship of another country. Now, coming to your question, I think there's one part which I did not reply, and this is the reality. How many states do we have in the US? States. 50 states and other overseas states, but talk about 50 states. To bring a team here for anti-recession minimum, with the minimum 4 people required, and maybe 1 supervisor, costs $10,000. So even if we have to say we go once to every state, 10,000 times 50 is a lot of money. Now forget about regions. Again, the reality of the situation in the US, people really don't talk about states. They talk about cities. In fact, there's somebody who is saying already Boston is too far from Lowell, and where did he say? He says he wants a Kenya Pamoja in Lowell and some other place. You can see already, because here people are more city-based. Now, how many cities are in the US? Major cities where Kenyans are? There are many. So from a practical point of view, it's not possible. What we have basically to do, it's a bit of discrimination, but is to give priority to Boston, because that's where most of the Kenyans are, and that's why last year I was here, today I'm also here, and Dallas, and Seattle, and LA. Yeah, so every year we got to issue IDs because that's what we can afford. Yeah, to do that, even if you say go to one state, it would wipe out our entire budget for the mission. So it is from a practical point of view.
Thank you, One Ambassador. Salome.
Hello, my name is Salome, and I have a quick follow-up question for you. Not follow-up, actually, it's different. Do we have to pay taxes here and in Kenya? There's been this issue of paying taxes here and in Kenya. Can you elaborate, please?
You see, every country wants taxes. That's the reality of life. Our KRA Kenya has been on the offensive. You know, let me put it. When I was finance minister, I found a budget of 800 billion Kenya shillings. Now, every year the finance minister receives budgets from all the ministries. Then you tot them up. And I can tell you they're always ridiculous figures. Then you go to KRA, how much can you be able to raise? So I called KRA and said, look, I want you to raise 1 trillion Kenya shillings in taxes the following year. Oh, it can't be done. I said, no, I've already made my decision. What you need now to do is to work backwards and tell me, if you want us to raise 1 trillion, then this is what we need to do. I said, if you're down on that part, then we can talk. I said, okay, we accept your figure. We accept your target. But to do that, we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4 things. I said, done. Give me the budget for those. I said, first of all, seal the loopholes. That should give you some money. Look at the people who are not paying taxes. You know, target them. Yeah? Look at other areas where they are not being taxed. You know, those are the areas I want you to target. So they started, like now, the online taxation for brewers, Kenya breweries, and any other person, Coca-Cola, you know, the soft drinks. Now it's instant. As a bottle passes through the machine, tax is raised on the spot. But this has only caught the good guys who are complying with the law. That is now we find we have gone on a warpath against the illegal brewers because they don't follow those rules. So taxes we want to raise taxes, that's for sure. And now I can assure, if you are employed in Kenya, you will pay tax. The big companies, they are paying tax. The only people who are now able to get away with is the so-called Juakali. But some of the Juakalis are quite very rich, but they pretend to be poor. I saw a pastorist with 100 camels and called himself poor. Do you know how much one camel is? It's of 80,000 shillings. 80,000 times 100. How much is that? That's the income. You know, so those are the things that were escaping the net. So now, against a requirement that, you know, you have to file in your tax returns, and you saw as usual, Kenyans, they wait on the last day. Then there's a queue of 1 kilometer, people waiting to go and file their tax returns. But it's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing. So they have now targeted landlords. I think that's why you are now coming in. So what they're saying that if you have an investment in Kenya, then you have to file your tax returns for that investment. So what we have done, we have now engaged the US government. We are negotiating what we call a double taxation agreement, which will say 2 things. That, an example for you, whatever investment you send in Kenya, it's already been taxed here, isn't it? Yeah, it's already taxed. So what we are now negotiating with the US government is to enter into a double taxation agreement, where I would say the income can only be taxed in one jurisdiction. And to do that, they use, I think, 2 simple tests. This income or this investment, no, let's talk about investment. This investment, the bulk of it, where was it derived from? If, for example, all the income you have sent to Kenya was derived from US, then you only be taxed here in US, you not be taxed in Kenya, and vice versa. The other test they use is residency. In that taxation year, where did you spend 3/4 of your time? Yeah. If you spend 3/4 of the time in US, then you'll be taxed here, not in Kenya. But we are still at the negotiating stage. We have given them our draft. It's going through the rounds, and then we see. So as of now, the requirement. But what has caused this problem is what they call that act? Foreign Accounts Compliance, Financial Transactions Compliance Act, which was passed here in the US. It was supposed to get hold of those guys who were hiding their income in the tax havens, Cayman Islands, Jersey Island, you know. But the mistake they made was to put very low threshold, 50,000. That if you have got an investment of 50 or more than $50,000, yeah, you also have to declare it here. The target was the billionaires who are hiding billions and billions of money in the tax havens. So we are negotiating. Once it's through, then you not be taxed. You only be taxed in one tax jurisdiction, not both, like now. Yeah. So we are continuing with that those negotiations. But we are confident that we'll be able to enter into it. Kenya's entered into double taxation agreement with Mauritius, with India, with China. So even America will come on board.
Thank you, Bon Ambassador. All right. Somebody who has not spoken. Paul, you've spoken. Dan, you've not spoken.
Mine is not a question, it's more of a comment. Because the WhatsApp group is full, I think the way forward is to have some other forum or some other mechanism like Telegram. Am I correct?
I think one of the key things we advised people to do is to download Telegram. Telegram is pretty much a glorified WhatsApp group. It can take up to 10,000 members. So right now, if everybody was to download Telegram, Wakenya Pamoja is already there, and we can have up to 10,000 people. So that's just another way we can move forward, because right now we have so many people on a wait list. We can't just take people out because people will be missing out. So we'll keep on encouraging people, download Telegram so that we can move Wakenya Pamoja to that forum. All right?
Somebody who's not spoken?
Thank you, Chris. Mine is a quick comment, going back to the gentleman who had talked about the word Wakenya, Boston. As you build the resource center, there's going to be fundraising needed. I think strategically it makes sense to call it Wakenya, Massachusetts. Then the people who are in the other towns can participate in the fundraising. I don't see any strategic reason why you should limit yourself just to call ourselves Wakenya, Boston. If people in Worcester want to donate, then why not?
Thank you, James.
My name is Kathy Washira. I come Mama Bob, and I just want to congratulate the current leadership for the great job they have done to bring people together from different kind of looking at things. It's not easy. And so this current leadership have gone beyond. And I believe that they're not stopping there. They are still going on. But one point that I know, like my brother Sam said, unity and commitment brings up people like us, and brings an organization like this become stronger. So we need unity and we need commitment. Without that, there's no way we're gonna proceed. God bless you.
Good evening. My name is Samuel Karanja. I have a comment to the leadership, and I have something I want to bring to the attention of the ambassador. The first is to congratulate the leadership, as Kathy Wachira has said, and even more important, we want to assure you, and I'm directing this to you, Sam, because you sounded like you are the more support hungry. We are with you. You will see more of us as time goes by. We'll provide you with all the support that you need, because we know this, what you are doing, is not for you, it's for all of us. So I want you to be sure of that. For the ambassador, I have 2 points I want to bring to your attention. You have just said very clearly that we have brought so much money to the country. We are proud of that. But for me, what I look at, if you have if you have a cow that you're milking and it's producing a lot of milk, you need to feed it. You need to take care of it. In order for you to continue, or rather, in order the country to continue receiving this disbursement of foreign direct investment from us, we need services. One of the things that your government, and I think this happened because the current president was a diasporan, which was very commendable, is to allow that the people in the United States to be able to import a car when they go back home by being allowed to buy a car in a country which is right-handed, something that we had a problem for a long time. I want to bring to your attention that we still have problems at the port of Mombasa, because there is a rule which says that you have to bring a car from Japan or from the UK that is comparable to the car that you originally owned in the United States. Now, In the United States, we have cars like Buicks, we have Ford, we have Chevrolet, we have all the GM cars from the Detroit area. When you go to the port of Mombasa, they look at the books, they want to see a Toyota or sometimes a Toyota Corolla or something that they are aware of. When they see a Buick or something that they are not aware of, it becomes a problem. So I would like you to use your office to intervene and focus on the CISREG, that's the engine capacity, as the main driver and not the make or model. So that's something I would like you to bring to your attention. Then the other thing, I don't know whether this has happened, but it happened to me about 3-4 years ago. You have just adduced to the fact that a lot of people here do not have the new IDs. This is because of certain reasons. As you're aware, most of us might not even have papers to travel to Kenya. So once you have the old ID, you cannot be able to get something called a PIN. A PIN is a requirement for you to be able to buy a property in Kenya or to do any transaction. If you have the older generation ID, you cannot be able to get a PIN. Now, they always require the new ID so that you can do something, and then the KRA will generate for you the PIN so that you can buy property in Kenya. One of the reasons why people use brothers, cousins, uncles, and so forth to buy properties is because the KRA does not allow you that free movement of transactional movement. And you are advised that we use the professionals, the so-called lawyers, engineers, and quantity surveyors. You cannot do that unless you have a PIN. So again, that's something I would like you to use your office to see how we can be able to make that easier for us to be able to transact, notwithstanding that we don't have the newer generation IDs, notwithstanding that we don't have current passports, notwithstanding that we don't have our Muheregas and our fathers' IDs. Those are the two comments I would like you to look at when you go back to Washington and you talk to your bosses in Nairobi.
Thank you. Thank you for that. It is true, I mean, this thing has taken quite some time, but it has been evolving, and I'll give the reasons. When it was initially done, it just says a similar car to what you are driving. Some few enterprising Kenyans did two things. There's one who imported a 52-passenger bus, and he said that was his personal vehicle. Now, that took some time. Says, how can somebody be using a bus as a vehicle? He says, no, that was my personal vehicle. So it took some time. So again, the regulations were changed to say now the maximum passenger capacity is 14, to stop that. Then it continued. Then another one brought in the engine of 18-wheeler and said that was his personal vehicle. That's what he was using as a personal vehicle. Again, now you're talking of 10,000 cc, again. So again, the rules were changed. So the maximum cc is 3,000, which should be able to fit. So the 3,000 now rule has taken care of that, which is true. The people at the port, when they hear of Buick and Cherokee, Jeep, they have no idea what it is. So they are just looking at CC. They're just looking at the CC, exactly what you are saying. That has now been, is clear. They now look at the CC, not the name. Not the name of the vehicle. They look at the CC now. So we have moved a bit. What was the other one you asked? The PIN. True. Without the PIN, you can't do any financial transaction in Kenya. Even to open an account of water, electricity, transfer of land, lease, what, you need the PIN. Now, you have the old ID, but unfortunately, the old IDs were invalidated. They are no longer valid. So KRI cannot use the big ID because they're invalidated. You cannot even use them for anything. So there's that problem. I agree. And that's why we have said, if you come to DC, we are able to do that. On our own, we do 1, 2, visits a year. That's what we can afford. Again, just to make sure that you get an ID, because then with ID, then you'll be able to invest. But the ID now is important in Kenya. Even mobile, to buy a mobile phone now, you need an ID, because that is what is registered with the cell phone company. So we are trying.
Thank you, Ambassador. So before I give you to talk, I'll just beg you guys to just hold for a few minutes. We have some of our sponsors who some of you have not visited. Grace, come. Just say briefly what you do, and
Good evening, everyone. Grace, and I run a company called Ubuntu Autism Consultants, and we provide in-home ABA therapy for kids with autism. ABA is applied behavior analysis, and we just help kids with their daily living skills. We give them skills to, like educational skills. We help them through their daily living skills, lives. That didn't come out right, but anyway. So we just help kids get on with their lives and maybe have a normal life. And the parents, we give them parent training so that they're able to deal with their kids' behaviors. And we also do behavior modification through ABA, not medication. So that's what we do. And we service the South Shore, Boston, Springfield, and Worcester. So if you know anybody, we have a table up front. You can pick up a card, some brochures, and you can refer them to us, and we can provide services for them if they need it. Insurance pays for the services, so they don't need to pay anything out of pocket. Thanks.
Dr. Indege, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Dr. Wilson Ndege. I'm a researcher by profession, a scientist in cancer, but I'm here on behalf of KUP, a diaspora project that is being built in Voi, Kenya, modeled around the town institutions like Amherst and, Maryland institutions. So it's really a university, and we have partnered with the Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and we are working with them because they have what we call project-based learning, where people are trained to apply knowledge and do things in the real communities. So that's why I'm here, why I'm part of the sponsorship, but my specialty is in science, molecular biology, biotechnology industry. I consult for a number of companies here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ndege. Pastor Lucy.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to greet you like this, and you say amen. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord again. I'm Pastor Lucy Painter, the pastor and the founder of Glorious Power Church. And what we do is serve the purposes of God in our generation. We are based in North Chelmsford. We are at 40 Vinyl Square in North Chelmsford. Apart from that, I also do crisis counseling for sexual assault survivors. If you've ever gone a sexual assault, I do counseling for sexual assault survivors, and I also do mental health, wellness ambassador. I advocate for mental health. I have also written a book